Well, Sudsers, we are here. The day that I have been talking about for like a week. So, I mean, not that long, but it's a big deal day for me. Today is day one of a 10-day passion project that I have been obsessing over, crying over, losing my mind over because I am so very much in love with the subject matter. Just yes. But before I tell you what that subject matter is and why it's such a big deal in my world, hello, I'm Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And today you are here for day 190 of 365 days of soap. And I am starting a passion project that is very dear to my heart. The bar that we are making today is one of 8, plus 2 extra fun things that we'll throw on at the end of this series to sort of capture my love for and of all things Taylor Swift. So today would be the first of her albums, which is her self-titled album, and we'll be doing a pour to sort of capture the overall album. And it's exciting, right? I mean, like, I got my hairs did for this. I did the thing with because it's a big deal. And I have been obsessing over this project and how I want the bars to look, what I want the boxes to say, all of the things, the smells, everything, all of the things for a very long time with this. And today is the kickoff of that. And so we get to look at the first bar. Now, the first bar, again, it is based on the first album of Taylor Swift's. So her self-titled album back many, many moons ago when she was still a big-haired country singer. And it's exciting, and it's a very cool pour. Now, for the audio, the voiceover that I do for the actual like making of the soap and doing the things, I actually re-recorded this multiple times. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, right? Like I could go total fangirl and talk about the album, but I make soap, so maybe I should talk about the pour. And each time that I listen to it back, I'm not capturing what I really want to do. And so I decided to do things a little bit different for the Taylor Swift series. One of my friends had actually put on my page a couple months ago a link to a YouTube video where Lin-Manuel Miranda is doing a drunk history for Hamilton. And I loved it. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do for Taylor Swift. And so that's what you're getting for the next 8 days. You are getting my drunk history of Taylor Swift in the voiceover of the pour. So, I mean, anything could happen. And I'm talking a lot about the, thing here because I'm a little bit nervous to show you the bars. Again, huge passion project, so much thought and energy and love was put into these. And I mean, let's go see. And I hope you like it. I can't believe I'm gonna do a drunk history for Taylor Swift. It's my drunk history of Taylor Swift, right? So, my experiences with this album and the things that I know about it. So it may or may not be even remotely accurate, but that's okay. So we're doing for the pour teardrops, which are cool because like teardrops on my guitar, and the colors that we're using, lots of greens and blues because this is the green room in the Lover house. And look at that, we got fretboards. We're gonna make a guitar, you guys. It's gonna be awesome. And yeah, the oil blend, I'm actually using the same oil blend for all of the Taylor Swift soaps. And so we have babassu, coconut, olive, argan, and shea. And for the special coolness in this one, I am using aloe vera. And I'm using alcohol in the later bars, but you know, she wasn't old enough to drink at this point, right? So aloe vera for this guy, and the scent blend is so bright and fun and delightful. It's clean and green and like birth and you know the things. And so it's, oh gosh, what do I have in there? So I have basil and a sweet peppermint and lavender and this cool rain scent. It's delightful, so good, all of the things. Just like this album, it smells green and like, you know, new birth, like the first thing, spring, and all of the jazz. So yes, all of the jazz. Me and Taylor Swift go way back, right? Like my appreciation of Taylor Swift, it goes way back. Like me and Taylor Swift don't actually go way back. We should be friends though. Mr. Soap and Clay says that if we actually ever met, we would totally like each other because our personalities are super similar, or they seem to be. But we would probably be the most annoying like duo to ever exist because it's just a lot. There's just too much. Too much muchness, really. And so yeah, we go way back. The year is 2007, right? I am living in Denver. I have recently graduated university, and I was driving home to do a 4-hour trip to see my parents in my hometown, and I needed music for the drive because there's like this stretch of road where you don't get music, there's no radio. And remember, this is 07, so we don't just like keep music on our phones at that point. Like I think I still had a flip phone. It was a cool flip phone though. It was like a flip phone that goes both ways, so you can flip it up or sideways and you can get a full keyboard so you're texting. But texting back in 2007 was also a terrible idea because you were still like paying for it per text. And like my parents got an $800 bill one month when I had discovered texting, and yeah, they cut me off real quick. I was immediately removed from their plan. And you know, fair play, fair play. I would have done the same. And yeah, so I needed music, and I had this CD that my cousin had given me for Christmas. Like, they always give me CDs, and that's awesome. And usually always country CDs, which is also awesome, because I love country music. But at this time in my life, I was not really into country music, right? I'm listening to something corporate, the Mars Volta, Fall Out Boy, not country music. And but there was this CD, and I hadn't even opened it since I got it for Christmas, and it was a Taylor Swift CD. There's this young girl with big hair on the cover, and I'm like, oh, it's another LeAnn Rimes type thing. Cool. And so I picked that up to, you know, take with me for the drive, because it's a 4-hour drive, and really I wanted something to ignore, because I needed something in the background to ignore, because I was actually in the process of writing a book, and I wanted some kind of zen, you know, time to think about the book and the thing and all of the stuff, and I wanted something in the background that I could essentially just tune out. And thought, well, you know, some LeAnn Rimes-esque country music could do it. It's nice sounding, but I don't have to pay attention, and that sounds great. And so that was the thing. This Taylor Swift CD was taken along with me for this drive to go home to the to where my parents lived. And yeah, so I'm listening to this CD, and again, not super paying attention. And then there was this line, right? And it was in Picture to Burn, and she said, "Go and tell your friends that I'm obsessive and crazy. That's fine. I'll tell mine you're gay." And I went, what? Wait, what is this? And at that moment, I started paying attention. Like, who is this chick? What did you just say? A, it's not acceptable. 2, country music is what? Like, Who are you? And at that moment, I actually restarted the album and listened to it all, multiple times in this 4-hour drive. Now, for the record, Taylor Swift actually did change that lyric very early on, and in all of the re-releases of the CDs and all of the things, it's the new version that says, "That's fine, you won't mind if I say." But I still to this day have a copy of the Taylor Swift album wherein she is making her first terrible decision. And I guess, in 2007, I guess a lot of people are running around saying, hey, that's so gay or whatever. My mom was the person who was, always telling everyone, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. Gay doesn't mean stupid. Knock it off, whatever. Like she was legitimately years ahead of the curve. But I guess my point is with that, it was still not okay, but also whatever. It wasn't okay. And she changed it, but that was like her first, snafu in her whole career. Started out in her very first album, and again, you're young and you're doing the things, and you also had the awareness to go, oh, maybe not, maybe this is a bad idea, and you pulled it and had it re-recorded. And to this day, I don't think she ever, she has not performed Picture to Burn in a concert in a really, really long time. And I mean, I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. And that's because there's some controversy surrounding it that she tried to delete off the face of the earth. And fair point. You shouldn't have said it. It was whatever. But that said, that was the thing that caught my attention. It was nothing else on the album. It was stuff that I was just ignoring. And then she said that, and I went, well, what else is she saying? Now I want to know. And so I went back and listened to the entire album, and it was delightful. And once I got to my parents' house and I had access to the internet, because again, this is 2007, my phone wasn't super smart. There wasn't really access to the internet at that point. Flip phone, all that jazz. And also, you don't internet and drive. That's terrible. Even though it was legal in 2007. Not today. Yeah, I looked her up and I went, wow, so she's a kid. She's a kid in the country music scene, and she has some sort of connection to Tim McGraw. I mean, I guess Tim McGraw's daughter liked something that she had sent, and so it's all a thing. And I had heard her, I think her first single was Tim McGraw, or maybe it was Teardrops on My Guitar, I don't know. So I had heard her on the country stations or whatever, but again, I wasn't listening to a lot of country at that point, and it was just something that I kind of ignored. But I listened to this album from beginning to end and went, this is amazing. And I looked her up and went, you are the new face of country music. And I love it. Whereas LeAnn Rimes could have never been the new face of country music, right? She had talent coming out of the wazoo, but she didn't have personality. And Taylor Swift is delivering a line like that. Again, completely inappropriate, but well, wow, I want to see what you do with this. This could be delightful, your career could be delightful, or it could be an absolute train wreck. And speaking of delightful and or absolute train wreck, you've been watching The Pour? It's been an In the Pot swirl. It's been cool, and we've been putting mica lines into it as well. And by we, I mean me. I don't know why I say we, but it's a thing. And I am writing on the top of this bar, or this loaf, Should Have Said No, because I love that song. That first guitar riff, the oh god, that's probably my favorite song on the album. And it's the one where you're sort of forgetting that she's quite young, or not caring if she's quite young, because it's a good song. Yeah, it's up there with Lady A and the Dixie Chicks and the what is the name of that, Sugarland, and all these other country songs, these Gretchen Wilson, these sort of really strong country music singers, females. And I went, yeah, I loved it. And so I wrote Should Have Said No. And we had mini teardrops going on in there with the blues and the yellows that I poured in, and now we're putting the fretboards that Georgia May made. I didn't make them. Georgia May made the fretboard. She does all the things with the soap dough, so I'm sure glad she did it. And yeah, that is the top of the whole loaf, and doesn't it look like a freaking guitar? Like, it's so cool. Now, I have to incorporate, and this will all make sense, you know, later, I have to incorporate some gold and some sparkles into this. So I'm spraying it down with rubbing alcohol, and then I'm going to take some gold mica sparkly sheen stuff and, you know, get it just all over the place and make a mess, because it's sparkly and amazing and all things bright and awesome. And I think at this point, I have no idea what's going to come of this bar, because mini teardrop pours are always interesting, and I think that's very fitting for the pour of the first album, the self-titled Taylor Swift album, because I think she didn't know what was to come for her either, and so it all works out. And that is going to be put in the oven and C-popped and gelled, and we are going to cut it tomorrow and see if we have any mini teardrops inside, really. Oh my gosh, look at this bar. This is so cool. I'm excited to cut into this. Now, George May actually suggested that for this, because when I was up, I'm having a hard time. I've re-recorded these so many times, and I couldn't really get the right, you know, thing down for all of the things. And she suggested that when I decided that I was going to do drunk history, and I had texted Georgia, I was like, how about drunk history for Taylor Swift? And she goes, yes, but you should theme the things that you're drinking after each bar too. And so this one's kind of hard, because like she was a literal child when she wrote all these songs, and so I'm drinking oh, look at the teardrops in the guitar, you guys. That's amazing. Oh my god. Look, the teardrops worked. So I love mini teardrops, and I'll actually do a video where I'm not doing a drunk history of Taylor Swift and like talk all about that actual process and give you a step-by-step of the pour, because mini teardrops are fun and I think people should do them and they're cool. But look at the fretboard on top of that. That's amazing. And yeah, so I am drinking a lime White Claw. I'm drinking lime White Claw for this video, because I feel like if she were drinking, it would be illegal and not cool at this point in her life, and she would probably be drinking something that doesn't taste super good, like a lime White Claw. So these are the things that I'm doing for the whole thing. It's like a method acting, right? Like that chick from the Twilight, that chick, the method actor. I think Robert Pattinson does it too. I recently learned that I was told that Robert Pattinson is actually a really good actor, and I've only ever seen him in Harry Potter and the Twilight movies. And so, well, and like the elephant one, the water for elephant, is that what it's called? That he was okay in that, but I'm like, oh, I can do without you. But anyway, he's a big method actor too. So this is what I'm doing. It's suffering for my craft and drinking crappy lime White Claw for the drunk history of Taylor Swift. And look at those bars though. You guys, look, they're green, because in the Lover House, right? It's the green room because it symbolizes birth and new growth, the spring. It's the beginning. It's all the beginning. And the smell is super green with, I mean, it's such a clean, fresh, bright smell. I love the scent of these bars. And, you know, we did the teardrops in my guitar or whatever to really, you know, give it a special, like, this is a Taylor Swift bar and not just a cool bar with an in the pot swirl and, you know, whatever. So we got the frets, and the frets are awesome. Like, the whole thing is awesome. There's hey, you guys, like, the teardrop showed up. I'm really excited, because that's, I mean, that was the point of the whole thing. Even if they hadn't, though, it still would have been all just green, right? And again, with the Lover House, this is the green room and all of the things in the Lover video, so we're modeling it after that, and that's awesome. And those are so cute. Yeah, so I might not, you guys, I might not end up screwing this this whole thing up. Except I just dropped that bar. Did you see that? I cut it out, but I dropped it. That's fun. And yeah, the frets just really make the whole thing though. I was really sad to actually cut the whole thing into, you know, little individual bars or whatever, because it looked like a guitar neck, the whole thing together. It was awesome. But, you know, it's still awesome. That's day 190. It's the Taylor Swift self-titled album. It's green and fresh and bright, and it's new birth, and it's teardrops on my guitar, and all of the amazing things that led me to become a Taylor Swift fan in the first place. I sent Mr. Soap and Clay a picture of this soap, and his immediate response was, there are literally teardrops in the guitar. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I think that's high praise, and I am super in love with this bar. And again, because I'm modeling it after every single album, each bar after every single album, but I'm also using the Lover House from the Lover video as like my reference point. This was the green room in the Lover House, so it's the green bar, and then the teardrops on my guitar and all of the things. It's perfect with the fret. It's so good, and I love it. It's a very great way to start out the Taylor Swift series, really. And I guess kind of a softball. It's kind of a softball pour, except for, you know, mini teardrops. They can be complicated, so there's that too. And I don't know. I love it, and I love Taylor Swift, so I am happy to have done this bar. If you are interested in this bar, you can totally find it on the website at the end of the series at soapandclay.com. I'm not going to release anything until I'm done with all 8 bars, and then again we have 2 special ones. It's all a thing. And yeah, that would be awesome. If you are interested in following me on social media, I am there: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That would be cool too. Thank you. If you want to be reminded to come back and see what I do for the rest of Taylor Swift's albums, because she has 8, I have done 1, you should subscribe, and you'll get a reminder and a notification when I post the video, and that would be cool. And you can come back. For those of you who are subscribed, thank you so much, and please come back tomorrow for, like, you know, the next one. The next one is Fearless, and it's awesome, and I cry, and I'm like about to cry just thinking about it, because I'm a super fan, it turns out, of the awesomeness that is Taylor Swift. And so you should come back tomorrow. And again, thank you for being subscribed. I am out of here for today, and I will see you guys all again tomorrow for, again, the Fearless bar, and we can see what I come up with for that. Bye.